Okay. Thank you. Now my heart's just really going.
That's a good thing.
That's a good, yeah. Right, it is good. Well, this must be the power of my children, because what I want to ask you about is helping me with it's my kids, Abraham, all four of them. And the ages 19, 14, 10, and 8. So the dynamics are very different. And my 19-year-old, I got him to read the first 6 chapters of Ask and It Is Given. And he was like, oh my gosh, this is the most incredible thing. So his stream went super fast. And when it goes fast, everything happens for him. But then he bucks it, and he gets really beat up. And then it's the most horrendous feeling trying to talk him through it, I guess, because he gets so upset with feeling like when he's bucking it that he's doing things that are not really him. He's trying to please other people, and sometimes he thinks, well, why not just go back to pure positive energy? Meaning, and I guess my thing is with all of them at different levels, I know I need to live by example, and I'm trying to figure out how do I do this when I'm just learning this myself, and because of that, I want it so much more for them to get it. So probably the most joyful one is my 8-year-old, and just absolutely everything is possible to him. And then my daughter is now feeling friends and self-esteem issues. In fact, she wanted me to order her a CD about self-esteem, because when she feels bad or someone is mean to her or says, they're jealous of her, she doesn't quite know how to take it. And the 14-year-old, well, anybody has a 14-year-old, they just know they're just sort of impossible. Well, his is his is probably more school, and I'm trying to let him have more control in a situation where there is no control as far as school, and yet deal with Dad, who doesn't quite get the whole thing. And I know I went all over the place, but I know you'll make it clear for me.
Well, with any luck at all, this boat will sink. It's an interesting thing to be in a position where there are so many people that you care so much about that are at such different stages in their life experience. And you have an opportunity, because you are an ever-expanding being. In other words, you were not that long ago 8 and 14 and so on. Life is moving along for all of you. And the thing that we would like to soothe within you most of all is that when you look at individuals and their individual issues, it just seems like way too much to sort out. But when you understand that there is alignment or not, period, then there's so much less to sort out. This is the part we really want you to get. You cannot fix it for them. Your only value to anyone else is to understand your own alignment and live it as best you can, and teach through the clarity of your example. Now, we're going to soothe you a little bit here relative to some of the things that you said. And we want to start with your 19-year-old by saying that, first, he didn't begin to make his stream go faster because he read the first 6 chapters of Ask and It Is Given. His life is what was causing his stream to go faster. So he hit the ground running, you remember that, and his stream has been moving fast ever since. And by that we mean he came deliberately, all of you did, he came deliberately wanting to explore contrast, wanting to understand. He's a teacher to the very core of his being. His stream is moving very, very fast, which means if you're not up to speed with a fast-moving stream, it is a little unpleasant. The river guide on the river in Colorado that Jerry and Esther rode with said to them, friends, this is not Disneyland and we cannot turn this stream off. And we want to say the same thing to you about your 19-year-old, about all of your streams. You can't turn it off. Your only hope of feeling better is to get going with the flow a little bit better. And your 19-year-old especially, well, all of them really, they are exploring enough contrast that they're in the business of adding to the momentum of the stream in a very powerful way. That's what these early years do. These are the years when life touches you, when you want to know that you're free but don't believe that you are, when you're sorting out all of the injustices of the world and of your peers and of the school and of your society. And so these are the asking years. And we know it would be nice if you could be born knowing, and you could ask and know and ask and know and ask and know and ask and know. And it's possible to do that, but it's really not the nature of your society. Your society says you're going to have these years where you just kind of have upheaval and you ask and ask and ask. And what it comes down to, really, for most people are fostered in one of two environments. Either they have a very controlling environment, which serves to be the contrast for them, or they have a more live and let live home environment where they get all of their control factors coming in from school and peers. But it doesn't really matter how you play the game with them. The fact of it is they're born into an environment where desires are going to be born within them that they're just not yet vibrationally up to speed with. And everyone knew it coming in. You don't want your children to be bored. We promise you'd rather have them all chomping at the bit. A car that's going 100 miles an hour and hits a tree is more of a problem than a car that's going 5 miles an hour and hits a tree. But we promise you it's so much more fun to go 100 miles an hour. And hitting a tree is not the big deal that everybody's trying to make it out to be anyway. And the tree, in our slightly skewed example, represents the resistance that you pick up along the way, which is the part that you're wanting to help them work on. And the way that you help another work on resistance, which means release resistance, is by releasing more and more and more of it yourself. But you can't be a worried mother or a concerned mother or even a mother whose heart's breaking over the heartbreak of one of your children and be one who's letting go of the stream. In other words, you have to sort of be above the fray enough to know that it all works out. We like to remind you that we can easily fast forward in the life of your children, and it is our promise to you that the contrast that they live is the basis of a glorious life that is coming. And they wouldn't give it up for anything. It's interesting. They're born into an environment where, by Earth standards, things are going very, very well. Even by the standards of your environment, things are going very, very well. And we think that's what's bothering you about it is that you've taken parenting seriously.
Can't help it.
And to have them still not flowing gratefully or joyfully is really annoying. It's like you little monsters, I've given you all of the wisdom that a mother could give, and still I wasn't able to control your life enough that you're living happily ever after. And we say, you just got to give that up. Accept that everything's going swimmingly. Things aren't going wrong. This is the time in their life when they are being inspired to ask and ask and ask and ask and ask. In other words, this is the time when they're shoring up their vibrational escrow. This is the time when they're finding their balance, and life is causing them to define what they want. And so what? They're just like everybody else in the world, and even the people in this room who want things they haven't figured out how to come into vibrational alignment with. But so what? They will. They're in the process of figuring it out, and they will be influenced to figuring it out by you as you figure it out. And the key to figuring it out is not trying so hard, not working so hard about it. You're not looking for specific answers that you can give that will soothe everything. You're looking for general answers. When you begin saying to your children early on, and the earlier the better, and now is just fine, when you begin saying to them, you have to figure out how to feel good about every thought that doesn't feel good. And don't ask me or one other person in the universe, don't ask anybody to change the circumstances to help you feel better. Figure it out, figure it out, figure it out. figure out how to feel better now. Figure out how to feel better now. And they will say, but what about this circumstance? And you say, I know, life's hard, but you've got to figure out how to feel good even in the evidence of that, because that evidence can't be changed. There's no one powerful enough to arbitrate on your behalf. And that's the resentment that is so deep within so many people. Your son, especially the 19-year-old, knows that he is supposed to feel so much better than he feels and does not know how to get there, but blames everybody that he focuses upon for the reason that he feels so bad. And when you say, it's out of my hands, you got to figure it out, he won't be 40 when he figures it out. You see, it's out of my hands. You've got to figure it out. And when you are able to connect to your true power, regardless of the conditions that surround you, then you find that true happiness. So your children, to a large extent, are the conditions that surround you, in that their happiness is so important to you. But they'll help you, if you will let them, discover that they don't have to figure it out for you to figure it out. And you don't have to figure it out for them, nor will any of them let you figure it out for them. They're too independent, you see.